So yeah, I've been suspended, and it's okay. But every night before I go to bed, I say to myself, if I get to live into my 80s, will I ever regret going this hard for Palestine? And I won't. We're talking about divestment. We're talking about a ceasefire. We are a movement of peace, love, solidarity.
You just heard from Cornell University graduate student Momodou Taal, who unfortunately has just been suspended from the Ivy League and could face deportation back to the UK because he's here in the United States on an F1 visa. Now, the reason why he was suspended is due to his participation in pro-Palestinian demonstrations on the campus. So let's break it down. Let's talk about what happened. So he is British Gambian and Muslim and was both an instructor at the university as well as a graduate student. Now, in the last academic year, he joined student-led actions demanding that Cornell University divest from industries complicit in Israel's war on Gaza. And in response to the growing unrest on campus last year, Cornell created a brand new policy to crack down on these specific protests. I think that's the important thing to keep in mind. You know, you have demonstrations on college campuses all the time. But notice the difference in the response from the university and the general public to these pro-Palestinian protests versus all other protests that have taken place on these college campuses.
Hey, don't scroll away. Come back. Because before the video continues, we just want to urge you to lend your support to TYT. You power our honest reporting. You do it at tyt.com/team, and we love you for it.
So what did Cornell University do in response to the demonstrations? Well, first issued on January 24th, 2024, the interim expressive activities policy limits when amplified sound can be used, delineates which objects are prohibited at collective campus actions like candles and sticks, and subjects some protesters to increased disciplinary actions. And by the end of the spring semester, 6 Cornell students, including Taal, faced temporary suspensions for helping to organize the pro-Palestinian encampment that took place on that campus. Now, I'm gonna get to the current suspension and the reasoning or rationale given for it, but before I do, Cenk, look, I get that there are always gonna be a handful of people in every demonstration, every protest, regardless of what the protest is about, that ruin it for everyone else, right? They engage in bad behavior. They, in this case, might say or do anti-Semitic things. I feel that those individuals in this particular case are used to paint a picture of the entire demonstration, when that doesn't tend to be the case with other campus protests.
Yeah, a couple of important points here. First of all, Momodou Taal in this case not accused of saying anything anti-Semitic. So just involved in a peace protest. If you're pro-Palestinian, good enough, get the hell out of here. Hey, wait, I thought Trump was a monster because he threatened to deport people, not just arrest, but deport people who participated in peace protests against Israel. Cornell University is doing it right now.
Yeah,
and Biden isn't doing anything about it. Kamala Harris isn't doing anything about it. They probably send him a thank you note. Oh, way to deport this guy. This dumb, by the way, of course, he's Muslim. And they have provided no process and no evidence against him. They claim that, we'll get into it in a second, that he pushed an officer. He's like, that's categorically false, not even close. Is there any evidence? No, there's no evidence. Did you guys even do a hearing? No, we didn't do a hearing. No, I already saw what I needed to see. You're Muslim and you're criticizing Israel. That's it, get out of here. Okay, so you don't need Trump. It's happening right now.
So let's talk about what he allegedly did, okay? So basically, last week on Wednesday, the group that Taal is affiliated with, it's called the Coalition for Mutual Liberation, organized a walkout of over 100 pro-Palestine protesters who marched into a career fair on campus. The students disrupted the event because defense contractors Boeing and L3 Harris, I haven't even heard of that defense contractor, but
they
L3
renamed it.
Yeah, had tables at the fair. I wonder why they keep doing rebranding, Cenk. Why do these defense contractors keep rebranding themselves?
Because they literally make a profit from killing people over and over and over again. That's why they are incentivized to help Israel start these wars. So it's not just about Israel. And notice that they get arrested and deported when they go after money.
Yes,
so
yes.
you're going to protest defense contractors. They're even more powerful than Israel.
So you have these defense contractors at this campus jobs fair, right? Again, Boeing and L3 Harris. And they are in fact involved in supplying Israel with military equipment, which is why this group decided to protest at this fair. Now here's a short clip of what that whole scene looked like. Okay, so the university claims that those who attended the fair felt threatened and that protesters forcibly entered by pushing campus police officers. I don't believe that, because if it's a campus jobs fair, everyone can go. They don't need to force their way into the jobs fair.
How would the cops even know to stop these guys? Maybe because they're in the outfits like the keffiyeh and stuff. So
Probably,
were the cops blocking them illegally in the first place? It doesn't matter, because none of this is proven, none of this is even charged. There's video right there of the event. Do you have video of them pushing an officer? No, you don't. Do you have any evidence? No, you don't. Did you do a hearing? No, you didn't.
Yeah.
So, but they heard all they needed to hear. You're protesting Israel and defense contractors. All American politicians, colleges, universities, they all take their cues. I'm sorry, I have to tell you the truth, from donors. And if the donors want you gone, they're literally going to kick you out of the country.
So as Cenk mentioned, Taal says, I did not push any police officers. It's categorically false. He says that he spoke outside the protest and left 5 minutes later. Nonetheless, he was suspended anyway. And he appears to be the only student among the protesters to face suspension, which the university told him was for not complying with the police officer's orders.
Oh, so now it's not complying with the police officer's orders. So which one is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just this
and
seems
did it
very
look like,
suspicious to me.
Did it look like any of the rest of them were complying with the orders? No. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering, so why did they pick him out? What's the real reason? It's because he's one of the top leaders of the peace movement at Cornell.
Yeah.
So they have the list of people who are in favor of peace. And at Cornell, the administrators apparently hate peace, or at least their alumni donors do, so they funded them. You wanna know something hilariously ironic? This year at Cornell is the year of freedom of speech.
No,
and do you wanna know why? Because the right wing has been complaining about it for a long time. So they brought on Ann Coulter to give like a virulently anti-immigrant speech, and other right wingers.
That's amazing.
And they're like, see,
That's
our
amazing.
commitment to freedom of speech.
By the way.
And then Momodou in the corner is like, I object to Israel's war. They're like, get out of here, arrest them, kick them out of school, deport them, okay? Worry about Trump though, Trump's a threat to democracy and et cetera. Get out of here, man. You guys are giant liars. So everyone who made this decision at Cornell is pathetic. So good luck sleeping with yourself. Oh, hey, I'm good. I made the donors happy. Alumni, are you happy? Are you happy? I eliminated all protesters of Israel. Okay, come on. That's obviously what's happening. So I have one last thing, but go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to note that look, it's a temporary suspension. So you would think, well, it's temporary suspension. What's the big deal? Why are you guys mentioning deportation? Well, let's go to graphic 3 here. As of publication, the university still refers to disciplinary action against Taal as a temporary suspension. But by suspending Taal, the university set in motion immigration procedures without having to provide the level of evidence that due process would require if the charges against Taal were criminal, which they are not. So if the visa is revoked, he would have to immediately pack up and leave the country. And so the consequences here are deeper than just a temporary suspension for being rebellious enough to call for peace in the Middle East.
Yeah, remember guys, there's not even a single charge of anti-Semitism, or that another student was harassed, or that any laws were broken other than the cops told you not to protest Israel. You continue to be one of the leaders protesting Israel. Obviously in America, you can protest America or any other country all you want, but protesting Israel is illegal. So we are celebrating free speech at Cornell by having you removed from the country, because it's only free speech for right-wingers and supporters of Israel, never for anyone else. Now, finally, you could, among the 800 different ways that you could tell that the administrators at Cornell have bad intent, is the new rule that they had that Anna mentioned in the beginning. Sticks, okay, yeah, don't bring sticks like the pro-Israel guys did and beat the peace protesters with it in front of the cops at UCLA. Okay, I get that, etc. I don't want people breaking into buildings, so reasonable guidelines are totally fine. The candles.
Violent.
Now why? What on God's green earth? You know the excuse they'll use. Oh, you could light a fire with a candle. Is that what you would light a fire with, a candle? Right? But why so specific? Not matches, not any kind of flammable stuff that's
no
way
lighters.
Worse. Nothing, right?
Yeah.
Just candles. Why? Because they were doing vigils for the slain Palestinians.
Ooh.
Candlelight vigils, and that embarrasses Israel. So we can't have that on Cornell's campus. So the monsters that run Cornell, who think that Muslim lives are dirt and useless, and they don't want those lives celebrated or honored in any way. Those people had the temerity to be Palestinian, and this Taal fella, he had the temerity to object to Muslims being butchered. So obviously he had to go. Cornell administrators, you must be so proud. You work at an Ivy League, you have your status. Oh, I hope that the cocktail circuit crowd gives you a good pat on the back. Way to just take out any student that is against Israel. Attaboy. You sound so principled and lovely. Who would want to go to Cornell in this situation? On the other hand, where are you going to go? Columbia's just as bad, UCLA's just as bad. Wherever you go, there's giant donors screaming, arrest everyone who's against Israel. You tell me that isn't true. They say it publicly. They say it publicly.
Yeah.
And every one of these clowns that run these colleges get on their knees and go, yeah, okay, I'll arrest everyone. Israel is demigod. So this is, guys, you want to talk about anti-Semitism? This is going to drive anti-Semitism. When you say you're not allowed to criticize, the one country you're not allowed to criticize is Israel, and if you do, we'll arrest you, and you don't think that's going to create anti-Semitism, you morons. You're making it way worse for everyone involved. If you enjoyed this video, that's because of our members. They make us independent, they make us strong, and they make us honest. Become a member today by hitting the join button below.